Gotta crank it. Hang on. Wish me luck. Hopefully this doesn't catch on fire. I did not grow up in an era where I had to listen to stuff on a cassette. I grew up in the CDs into the Spotify, Apple Music era. So I have no idea what it was like to use a cassette player, let alone create a master with it. What's going on, everybody? Deven here with another episode of The Drastic Truth, and today I'm going to be doing something very different. I have a cassette player on my desk here, and what I'm going to be doing is sending a mix of mine into a cassette and then back into the DAW to see what it sounds like. There's a couple of things to keep in mind here. This isn't like recording with a plugin. In fact, I have to send audio into the cassette player with an adjusted input volume and an adjusted recording bias to make sure the high end doesn't have any phase relationship issues. Also, the distortion that the tape is going to add will depend on the quality of the tape. Let's go ahead and get into this. I set up my tape deck already, and I forgot to clean the recording heads. So I had to grab a Q-tip and clean off those recording heads, as well as blow out the container with some compressed air. There was little to no audio on the left side, but there was a ton of distorted, muddy sounding frequencies on the right. So after cleaning everything, that solved my issue. And it took me a little bit of experimentation to get the input gain correct. As much as I don't understand cassette tapes, which a little bit of research probably would have helped that, it seems the tapes don't take super loud information in the first place. So I had to find that balance of attenuation to make sure there was no distortion in the overall sound from the tape. One of the issues I also encountered that I thought could be a problem, but didn't know how much of a problem it could be, is the inconsistency of recording to playback speed. Everything seemed to be recording at the same time, but whenever I would play back the audio, it would be slightly slower. Originally, when I wanted to do this video, I was wanting to separate a lot of the stems, the guitars, the drums, the bass, and the sound effects, keyboards. Those were going to be individually recorded and then played back into the DAW. This obviously can't be done now, even with a blip starting point sound, so that you could line it up later. So I'm just going to send a pre-master track. I'm going to be using a fairly clean, almost unused tape to record the master of this track. Then I'm going to be using a tape that I have modified with a little bit of persuasion. So we're going to be discovering those differences together. This is the project I have. I'm feeding them into this tape out, which as you can see, there's nothing on it, which is going into the cassette tape recorder. And then that is routing back into these tracks here. What I'll do is I will just play this section all the way through and just put it to tape. This one here is the clean tape. And then I have this little blip here, which I'll show you. That blip tells me exactly where I started the recording, and I can put it back into place. So without further ado, we shall record this in. It looks like I'm adding a little bit of gain on accident with the tape, because I was checking out the meter on the tape out here, and it looks like I'm writing about -4 or 5. This tape machine was going to 0, so I'm thinking I added just a little too much gain on the input, but we're gonna go ahead and put it back into Cubase here, and we're gonna see what that sounds like. It's a little after the downbeat here. See? It's a little after where it should be. And I go back a little bit. Now it's early. So it was inconsistent, but I'm pretty sure if I had both running at the same time, we would hear a really weird phase echo and everything. Like, here, let me try. That's kind of cool. The amount of attack it's adding to the snare drum is crazy. It's adding a lot of this low mid saturation that sounds really bold. I actually really like it. I hate the amount of noise that's in there. Like, it's a very noisy sounding tape, but it sounds so fat. I like it. I'll start with the digital and then go to the tape. Okay. It really cleaned up that low end. The low end's like super tight now. There's like a bump in the highs that's really nice, and then like the low mids are a little more pushed. Oh man, I actually love the way it sounds. I hate the hiss that's got to be throughout it. But now I need to go throw a cassette into the freezer, and then we're gonna put an ice cold cassette tape into this. So I'm gonna try to record the audio into it while it's really cold. Then I'm gonna take it out, I'm gonna heat the tape up, and then I'm gonna put it back in and then record the playback. Let's see what happens. Okay, it's so cold, it's like showing condensation. Okay. Okay, let me rewind the tape. Now I'm gonna eject it. It's still cold. I'll put it back in this baggie. Okay. And now I'm gonna go heat up some water, like make a pull of hot water in the sink. Dip this in there, get it nice and hot, nice and toasty. And then we're gonna put it back in this and see what it does. So give me 1 second. Okay, I have super hot water. Ooh, the tape is warm. Okay. All right, let's just hurry up and do this. Boom, boom. Get it tracking, and let's do it. Interesting. Interesting. So it seems that it just muddied the quality and it added volume to the tape. I was looking at the playback here and it was at +1, but when I retracted it, it was not +1. In fact, the highest peak was at 0. So, ooh, okay. Now it's really off. It's going faster. It kind of went a little faster and then it went back to normal. Here, it's staying early. Look at the difference in these two. That's crazy. Do you hear how much extra noise is in there from it being cold? There's a lot of noise. This is what the original tape sounded like. Noisy. The tape actually adds a lot of good stuff to the bass guitar. Before I move on, I'm gonna do this interesting thing here. The tape that was bad before, I need to hurt it. Nice little cut in the tape there. Put something down the line. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're gonna pull the tape out of it. Oh yeah. And then I'm gonna stretch this bitch. Ooh, yep. Good stretch in there. Let's stretch it again. Is the tape going to explode? Maybe. Gotta crank it. Hang on. Okay. Wish me luck. Hopefully this doesn't catch on fire. All right. That was sweet. That was really cool. So I'm gonna pull it out a little bit, and I'm gonna pull it. Watch. And break it. Well, that's the end of that. Bye-bye, tape. All right, I don't know if that was educational at all, but there you have it. That was me putting a song on a cassette and listening to it and trying to work the machine here. After you got the bias dialed with the input gain, it actually sounded pretty good. A lot of the hiss that was coming from the tape itself kind of went away as you listened to the song. You weren't really paying attention to that hiss anymore. Now, with the temperature adjusted tape, it was quite noisy, and on top of that, it was very soft and muddy sounding. Nevertheless, that was a really cool experiment, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. That was a dumb fucking video, dude. I'm gonna put this on repeat now. Shit.